Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Twins Daily Postgame Pint. It is Friday, August 21st, 2020. The Minnesota Twins have fallen to the Kansas City Royals 7-2, and it was a pretty rough night. Let's get to talking about it. Let's unpack. Let's maybe commiserate a little bit. Want to let everyone know, all the attendees that are here, you can use the chat function to share your thoughts. There's a Q&A. You can put in any questions you have, thoughts you have on the game, things you want us to discuss with our great panelists that we have here with us tonight. So without further ado, let's introduce them. We'll start with Mr. Nash. Nash, how are you doing tonight, man? Are you drinking, what do you got, like a lemonade or anything?
I'm on lemonade, Nick. 2 for 4 at Hy-Vee. I told John, but God, tonight was flat. I'm disappointed. We'll get to it, but that was flat.
Yeah, no. It's hopefully, well, I guess the lemonade's kind of flat too because it's not. I assume it's not. It's carbonated. And we've also got Rena with us. Rena, do you have a drink tonight, or I saw your tweet? Do you have some delicious Sweet Martha's cookies? I'm very jealous.
I'm not getting those till Sunday. I wish I had them now because I need to eat my feelings probably now. But I do have 2 drinks, and I'll show the least interesting one first because the game was so flat. And like my drink, a glass of water, all flatness. But I also have a Dr. Pepper.
There you go. Okay, well, hopefully the Dr. Pepper still has a little pop to it, which the Twins did not tonight. I myself am drinking a Trip Hop from Surly. It is a triple dry hopped India Pale Ale, and it's like 10.4% alcohol content. So a very strong beer, which feels apropos after tonight's game. So with that, let's dive in here. Want to let everyone know we're doing some fun. John started doing some kind of little contesty things over the last week with the episodes. And one kind of fun thing he likes to do is have the people comment random words, and we have to try to work them in at some point. So a little challenge for all the panelists. Tonight we're going with your favorite fast food restaurant chain. So Rena and Nash, you guys can keep an eye on the chat window and try to work that in. I don't know if I'm going to track contest-wise the answers here because we've got so much to unpack, and I just don't know if we can pick an MVP for the Twins tonight. It seems like a tall order. So with that, let's dive into the StatCast board here. Twins, as I mentioned, lose 7-2, out hit 10-6. Another very quiet night for the offense. Jake Odorizzi allowed 5 runs on 7 hits in 3+ innings before coming out after being hit with a line drive. Jorge Alcala looked phenomenal over 3 innings. I'm sure we'll talk about that. Definitely the bright spot of the game. Zach Littell also looked really rough before coming out with an injury. Looked like something wrong with his arm. Elbow inflammation, I believe, is what the Twins are saying. Won't surprise anyone. The WPA leaders tonight, all Royals, Danny Duffy leading the way. Jorge Soler hit a 3-run homer. Royals were up 4-0 before the Twins even got an out. Very rough one here tonight, guys. Nash, let's start with you. What's your takeaway in this rough loss here for the Twins?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of what we're doing and what I'm doing too recently is looking back and comparing. And I know it's nothing's equal this year. Everything's crazy this year. But I think I have been looking and comparing them to the 2019 team just because of how good that team was and how special of a season it was. And this is not going to be the same without fans. It's not going to be the same with 60 games. But they don't lose this game last year. I just don't think they come out that flat like that. And I feel like they've done this multiple times now in 27 games. And against the Royals, it's like always against the Royals, they just come out flat. Like you said, Nick, they've been terrible at Kauffman this year, like just brutal there. And I know it's a bigger ballpark, and I don't even know this Twins team right now is not hitting homers. So, I mean, that part of the matchup is different than when you looked at it last year and you said, okay, at Kauffman, Royals play small ball, Twins hit homers, maybe the Royals have a slight edge there at home. I can't even say that this year because the Twins have been winning with pitching and defense. I just think they came out so flat tonight. I thought the lineup, I saw Royce tweeted, little harsh. He said the lineup reeks. But I think the lineup tonight was not – I mean, it's not anywhere near where they want it to be. I mean, it's just not. And hitting Jay Cave second against the lefty, I know he singled off Duffy. I didn't get it. I know you said that too, Nick. Like, I don't understand why he hit second tonight. It was really, really confusing for me. And I believe in lineup construction more so than people say that it matters, because I do think that rallies lead into the guys lead into the next guy, and it starts a rally, and having Jake Cave hit second didn't make sense. So I was just disappointed tonight.
Yeah, agreed. Twins now 0-4 at Kauffman Stadium this year. As Bramer mentioned on the broadcast, it's a stadium where they've had a lot of success in the past. And I think, they were hoping to take advantage of the Royals, a 100-loss team, getting so many games against them on the schedule, and looked good against them in the home series last weekend, but a much different story here tonight and a lot more of the same. Danny Duffy just stifled him for a second time in 6 days. They get shut down by Danny Duffy. I realize this is a different lineup and probably a lot of different guys in there, but you'd like to see him get some better looks seeing him again so soon. Obviously, the Royals against Odorizzi, it looked like they really had his number. Rena, what was your biggest takeaway from tonight's game? What are you coming away with?
It kind of felt like everything that could have gone wrong in this game went wrong. Like Nash said, I do not understand why Jake Cave was hitting second. And although there isn't a very specific statistical correlation with lineup construction versus hits and, creating a rally, things like that, I do think that that was largely responsible for why the Twins couldn't string enough hits together to come up with any runs of any sort. And I just thought it was interesting. I can't remember exactly who from the Twins Daily tweeted this tonight. It might have been you. But, Duffy's just been awful against other teams. His ERA was up to 9, something along those lines, and he completely shut down the Twins again tonight for the second time. And a lot of guys who've been massively cold. Dozier, he's batting under 200. Soler, who struck out 11 out of the last 12 at-bats he had. They just got it together, and those pesky little things added up, and the Twins lost another big game at Kauffman this year, or tonight.
Yes, very true. So talking about the lineup and a little bit of that, I know Nash, you kind of touched on this with Cave batting second, and I thought, it was an interesting when they put Byron Buxton on the IL, of course, earlier this week, they decided to call in Lamont Wade Jr. So they now have 4 left-handed options in the outfield. Of course, here against Danny Duffy tonight, they had, three starting lefties, of course, in the outfield, and Cave batting second after, he started last Saturday against Danny Duffy, and he went 0-for-3 with 3 strikeouts. Didn't really look that good tonight. I think the combined trio of Kepler and Cave and Rosario had one hit between them. And Nash, I know you wrote about this on the site. I think it was actually just published tonight in very timely fashion, that hitting left-handed pitching, which was a huge strength for the Twins offense last season, has turned into a weakness this year, and we saw it again tonight. So that just gets me to wondering, do you think that calling Lamont Wade Jr. was the right move here, or should they have gone with someone like Brent Rooker, who could at least give them a right-handed look in a game like tonight, where they were too lefty stacked against Duffy? Nash,
yeah, it is weird, Nick. I think if – oh, sorry. You want to go to Rena, or I'll go quick?
No. I was going to say start with you.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I was going to say Rooker's weird is unique because he has reverse splits, or he did last year. And I don't know if that's going to continue. He crushed right-handed pitching and wasn't as great against lefties. And I think if it was reversed the other way, he might get the call. But I think they are looking at last year, and it was a smaller sample for him because he had that – I think he had a wrist or an ankle injury that knocked him off for the rest of the year. But he did have reverse splits, and I talked to him about it on my podcast, and he said he looked into that a lot this offseason of how he's going to get better against left-handed pitching. But, yeah, I agree with you. I think that's an inefficiency on this team is they don't have another right-handed bat in the corners. And so when Garver, who's now out, is struggling as much as he is against lefties and just in general, Miguel Sano's hot now, but was struggling against lefties and, wasn't great tonight. Walked twice, which was awesome. I thought he was taking good at-bats, actually, I will say. And then Kepler this year is 2 for, I think, 24 against lefties now after tonight. So, and Donaldson's out, who's a top 5 hitter against lefties in the last 8 or so years. It's a big blow for them. And Adrian's is not hitting at all. Adrian's is hitting 186 this year. And he also hit lefties better last year. Marwin hit lefties better last year, and he's been good. He's singled to start the game. I think he's 11 for 23 off Duffy now in his career. I liked him leading off, actually, because they didn't have – Kepler's not going to lead off against a lefty. I didn't mind that tonight. But Cave batting second, again, was a head-scratcher. And how bad they've been against lefties this year, they're bottom 10 in the league when they had historically good numbers last year. I just think get batting a lefty second. And just how many injuries they have. I know the Twins have so much depth, but at a certain point, you have to say, you have to say it's too much. I just think they have a lot of depth, but then you look at this lineup, and it's hard to say that they're going to go out and produce a ton with this lineup with the way guys are hitting right now. It's disappointing, and I think it's a feeling that we didn't have much of at all last year of the offense not producing. We were so used to 5, 6, 7, 8 runs every night, and they did have nights where they were down, but it just feels like I don't know, it just feels like it's way more often these days. It really does. Rena, I want to know what you think about just like what it feels like compared to 2019 too, and Nick, you too, because when I think about it, it feels like a different team. They're winning in different ways, but the offense just, I don't know what's missing. I don't know what's going wrong with them. They're not hitting consistently.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't look very threatening tonight. That's an interesting point about Brent Rooker and the reverse splits. But yeah, when you look down there for other options, I mean, Kirilloff and Larnach would be nice, energizing presences maybe to bring into the team, but also left-handed bats. So
Right.
Like you mentioned, just sort of a weakness up and down on that 60-man roster. Rena, what do you think? Do you think that there's something they could do to try to offset this weakness against lefties, especially with these injuries?
So I think that at some point you see a short season, right? We're pretty much already halfway through. How much more time do we have to invest to hope that these guys can figure out how to hit against left-handed pitchers? I don't think it could hurt at this point to utilize your farm system, your prospects, and see how they do. I mean, at this point, all you're doing is throwing the same guys out every single night and hoping for better production. And kind of to go back to what Nash had said, I think the biggest difference between this year and last year is that we're not seeing any comebacks. If anything, the team from the first half of the game looks drastically different from the second half, regardless of what the score is after 4 innings. And I think that that's something that absolutely needs to change if the Twins want to stay on top of Cleveland, who are now dangerously close and probably could have taken the division had it been a normal night against the Tigers.
The White Sox are on fire. The White Sox have won 6 in a row, and now they're only a game back. And the Twins get them when they come back from this road trip, and hoping then that Buxton's back, hoping then more so of a pipe dream, hope that Donaldson's back, that Mitch Garver's back. But the White Sox are right there too. Like they're really tight at the top right now, and it's concerning because the Twins. Do you think the Royals have our number? Like it's just I don't feel good about tomorrow. I don't feel good about Sunday. I don't know how you could with the way we've played against the Royals at Kauffman this year. It's really disappointing so far how they've played the Royals. They did win 3 out of 4 last weekend.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but especially since last year, one of the biggest reasons why Cleveland lost the division was because they did so poorly against the White Sox. I mean, losing 10 out of 19 games against them. And I would hate for, the Twins to repeat history against the Royals out of all teams.
I was hoping for us to get, I know it was really ambitious, but I was hoping for 15 wins from the Royals and Tigers combined. I thought we had a chance to win 15. I know with the injuries that definitely became ambitious, but I thought we could get 13 to 15. That's just not going to happen now. We do have 10 left against the Twins, but that's not going to happen.
Yeah, so that's a great point, Rena. I mean, the offense's explosiveness and comeback potential does not seem to be there. I mean, last year if they fell behind 4-1 after a couple innings, I wouldn't have really felt that worried about it. I mean, the Bomba squad's going to make some things happen, but it felt kind of hopeless this year, and it played out exactly, unfortunately, as it felt. So want to remind everyone that's in attendance here, you're welcome to join in the chat. We got a couple questions in the Q&A. We will be certain to tackle those. And if you want to share the name of a fast food restaurant or chain, your favorite one, in the chat, we will try to work it in at some point very subtly, and we'll see if we can do that in super incognito fashion. Devlin asks in the Q&A, I think Alcala can be a playoff October guy in the bullpen right now. Do you agree that slider is illegal? Alcala was obviously the big bright spot tonight. He came in after Odorizzi was injured and came out, so he didn't really have time to warm up in the bullpen, and it kind of looked like it. He looked pretty raw and erratic, but once he found his groove, man, he was just unbelievable, and he's really just pitched really well every time he's come out so far. So, Rena, what do you think? Is he really raising his profile to that point where he's going to start being one of their main guys, you think?
I would certainly hope so. And I think the fact that Rocco put him in that situation tonight, facing the top 3 hitters in the Royals lineup, shows that he is building his confidence in Alcala and hopes that fans do too long term. But as of right now, I would hope to see him in the 7th or 8th inning, because he did, have trouble with the first couple batters. And we've kind of seen that pattern with him for the past couple of games where he might walk the first guy, he might get a hit off of him, but then eventually it's just an in and out inning after that. So yeah, we'll see. I would love to see him in October.
Yeah, I'll say, Nick, I think his upside, which is really exciting in October, would be him to piggyback with someone like Rich Hill. Like if Rich Hill pitched 3 innings and then Alcala came in and went through the lineup once too, I think with his stuff, he could dominate any lineup. I really do, with his fastball and slider. But I think his downside is that he's not going to throw strikes consistently enough, and in a huge spot like in October. Maybe it'll help with no fans for him because he seems to get really wound up, which is a good thing too. He's got good energy. But I think in October, in huge spots, you run the risk of him not throwing strikes. And with a 3-batter minimum, I don't know if you want him to come in as a fireman like he did tonight. I just don't. He walked in a run, so that can happen, and you don't want that to happen in October. But his upside is so high that he could be an absolute weapon for them. I mean, he could be a guy who's used very consistently and in long spurts where he can go through a lineup once, go through 2, 3, 4 innings. I think he's stretched out enough. I think he got up to 40 pitches tonight. I think he has phenomenal upside. And you're right, Rena, like Brock was giving him confidence, which is the key, I think. He feels empowered, I think, coming out of the bullpen and more every night. I like his upside a lot. I still think they need to put him in the right spots for him to succeed.
Yeah, the length is nice. He was starting up until late last year, so having a guy who could come in and throw upper 90s for multiple innings is quite an asset. So, yeah, that's been great to see. One other thing that I kind of wanted to touch on here, because it's also relevant to something that one of you wrote on the site recently, the trade deadline is suddenly only 10 days away, which is weird. It does not feel like that at all. But we saw basically our first kind of big trade of the deadline season happen today. It was a Boston market. The Red Sox went and traded a guy to the Phillies. And Rena, I know this one must have hurt you because I think it was about a week ago that you wrote on Twins Daily that there was one target you think the Twins should be going after, and it was the guy they traded to the Phillies today, closer Brandon Workman. How did you feel to see that news come across the old screen today?
That hurt with no warning at all whatsoever. And it's not completely surprising because I know the Phillies bullpen has been pretty detrimental, and I'm sure they wanted to get on Workman a little bit early, but still hurts. And, I pictured him in that closer role for the Twins in October, and being a guy from the Boston market, he'll be stable and good in the playoffs. And I can go on and on about how great Brandon Workman is, but it's tough. It's tough.
Yeah. Do you foresee the Twins making any kind of move here as the deadline approaches? I mean, the injuries have really opened up some needs, it seems like, at this point. And I just don't know how much they want to go into the minor league well and, pull these guys who maybe haven't played very much above double or single A and haven't really been able to play competitive games at all. They're training, they're staying sharp over there. But do you want to throw Kirilloff or Royce Lewis into the middle of this thing? I don't know. Do you think they're going to go out and make a move of any significance here within these next week and a half?
At this point, not so much, because when I had written about Brandon Workman, I had envisioned them sending over like a Lewis Thorpe plus maybe one of the lower prospects and something along those lines. But I don't think now the Twins will touch any of the top guys in their farm system. And with everything that's going on and such a crazy season, I don't think any team other than Boston would expect anything less. So I kind of hope the Twins hold on to their top prospects and promote them and maybe switch them out with Cave rather than sending them on to, other locations and other teams.
Yeah. The move is Pineda, says Steve Pincus in the chat, and that obviously will be a nice little upgrade to get with some of the thinning of the herd here. Nash, do you think the Twins are going to be active on the trade market here with the deadline coming up?
Nick, the only one that I've looked at, the only potential trade that I looked at was for a bullpen arm like Rena wrote about. I think Workman would have been really cool to add to the back of the bullpen and another weapon that they could have. But I just don't think there's too much of a need for them and for Falvey, who traditionally doesn't like to dip in unless they really need it. They really needed bullpen help last year. I don't think he's going to dip into a prospect pool and make a trade right now when there's not that. And you make a good point, Nick, about the injuries. I agree. But yes, Pineda coming back, we continue to forget about that, or I do at least. But August 31st, Hopefully they have Buxton, Garver, Pineda, and maybe Donaldson back by that time when they come back home to play the White Sox. And that would be just a huge load coming back after this 10-game road trip. You would hope they could go 6-5-5 or 6-4 and just kind of weather the storm until then. I don't see a move being made at the deadline. I would be surprised if they made a move, just because I think they have, with Barrios looking the way he did, and we don't want to jump to conclusions on him after just one good start. But I feel pretty decent about Maeda in game one. I think Rich Hill, bad last time out again. I think I feel good about him starting a playoff game. I know these aren't front-of-the-line guys in a traditional playoff rotation, but I feel good about them. And maybe you go out and try to get – there really aren't that many front-of-the-rotation guys who would jump over Barrios, Hill, or Maeda in a playoff rotation. I just don't see that out there. And maybe I haven't looked deep enough, but I don't see them making a move. And I don't think Twins fans should be necessarily upset if they don't. I think there's not a glaring need on the team right now, in my opinion, just based on the numbers and based on everything. They're not going to go out and get a bat. I mean, they just need their guys to come around. And the biggest need right now is that their offense is spoiling. So I don't foresee that, and I'm not going to be disappointed whatsoever when they don't, because I really don't think they will. But I could be wrong.
Yeah. I think I'm with you. I think if they make a move of any kind, it's going to be a low-level move to bring in someone who wouldn't even necessarily be factoring into that high-level postseason picture. Maybe just another body to get them through the rest of the season. And because they're getting thinned out, and the bullpen is really getting pressed. It was nice that Alcala was able to go out and pitch 3 innings today, take some stress off of them, because it looks like they're going to have another bullpen day coming up here in a couple days. So Mike Link asks in the chat, who are the next 2 pitchers to be added now that Odo and Littell seem to be down? That's a good question. I don't know who's on the taxi squad. I assume that they've got a couple arms on there who will probably be coming in. I don't know if that info is available. Do you guys, we'll start with you, Nash. Do you have any thoughts on who might be coming in to fill these spots on the pitching staff?
Yeah, a lot of chat and a lot of speculation about Yohan Duran, but I don't see it this year. I personally don't believe that they should bring him up, because he was at Double-A last year and wasn't great at Double-A. This is not the time, I don't think, for him. I just don't think if their bullpen was struggling mightily and they needed someone in short stints who's got the stuff like Duran, yes. I just don't see it in a situation like this. I think you're going to see Sean Poppin. I think you're going to see more of Devin Smeltzer now with Odorizzi getting hurt. And now you look at the rotation, it's Barrios, Hill, Maeda, Dobnak, and then probably Smeltzer / bullpen for that 5th spot. So you might just see Poppin come up and fill that back of the rotation role as something to get some guy to give you length. But the time that they need length is when they're up by 8-1, down by 8-1. Recently, it's been down by 8-1. I have such a short memory. I just think about tonight. I know last night they dominated. It's just so easy when you lose to just think about that night. I see Sean Poppin. I don't see Yohan Duran. I'm sorry. I know it's really exciting, but I just don't see that happening. And if it were to happen, I'd be really excited about that, because I think he's great. I don't believe that they should right now. I don't think that he showed he was ready last year necessarily. I know Thad Levine said before, once a guy excels at Double-A, we feel like he's ready to come up. He didn't do that last year. I think he had a 4.90 or 5 ERA at Double-A last year. I just don't see it right now. If he's looking really good in St. Paul, I mean, I'm not there. We don't see what's going on over there. I don't see Duran coming up this year, and that's fine. I agree with that.
Yeah. It's like they've already got that profile on the staff with Alcala. How many guys can you really have that are these young 20s, raw, inexperienced fireballers who probably aren't going to throw the ball over the plate with a lot of consistency? So I'm with you there. I would like to see it. I don't know that it's very likely. And Sean Poppin, I agree, is a given. I guess the good news is that Jake Odorizzi, from what I heard, it was just a contusion. He got hit in the ribs with the line drive, came out of the game, but it doesn't sound like anything's broken. So there's a possibility he might not need to go on the injured list and maybe not miss a start. In the event that he does, Rena, is there any name that comes to mind for you along with Poppin that might be coming onto the staff here? I mean, will they go back to Lewis Thorpe, do you think?
Yeah, I was actually going to mention, I think that they'll go back to Lewis Thorpe. I know that he's had a couple of rough outings, but he did end his last outing on a pretty good note. He had a really rough first inning and then ate the next 3. Like, there was no problem. But yeah, with his experience and how many games he's already started and come in for the Twins, I don't see them unexpectedly tossing him to the side in the short term.
Yep. Yep. I think that's right. Thorpe has been up and really having experience and seeing major league hitters this year is a big thing. I mean, just with no minor league games going on, I just don't know how much the Twins want to bring in guys who are, like we said, they're obviously throwing and they're staying in shape and ready to go, but it's a different story when you walk into that major league field. Speaking of Poppin, who I think we all agree is likely to come up tomorrow. Devlin asks, were you surprised that Littell was recalled over Poppin the other day? I tweeted about this. I was very surprised. Zach Littell has not looked good this year. I mean, even since that implosion in the opening series, the ERA is a little better, but the swing and strikes, the strikeouts aren't there. The control is not there. I was a little shocked they brought him back up, and he looked rough before coming out of the game with the elbow injury. Were you surprised to see him come back up? And what's your level of concern with Zach Littell right now?
Extremely surprised that he came back up. I mean, like you said, he started the season with probably the worst outing of his career, and it hasn't really gotten much better since. And now we know why. It seems like he's had an arm injury that's been bothering him on and off. And what surprised me even more is that he was used tonight. If I'm not mistaken, he pitched yesterday and threw, over 10 pitches, looked okay, but not dominant, with so many other people like Lewis Thorpe ready in the bullpen. I don't really know why they brought him up and kind of, showed how bad he can be when he, is in the current state that he's in. So, yeah, I'm excited to see Sean popping back up, and hopefully Littell's okay, but for the rest of the season, I don't know how much more of him we'll see.
Yeah, our guy Seth Stowes is keeping an eye on the post-game presser for us, which we very much appreciate. He mentions that Baldelli was very calm about Littell, says they don't think it's serious, but inflammation, maybe tendonitis, and he'll get some imaging done tomorrow. I don't know how comforting it would be if he's not hurt. You'd almost like to be able to ascribe the struggles to something. Nash, what's your feeling about Zach Littell right now? And do you think we can trust him to come back and be a factor like he was last year for this bullpen?
You hope so. You hope that he can. I think there are so many factors this year, Nick and Rena, that it's so hard to not think about them, because you think about the short start, you think about the 60 games, you think about the no fans. It's different for every guy, and we've seen that. And some guys jumped right back in and they're ready to go, Tyler Duffy being one of them. Other guys, not so much, like Zach Littell. And he could be hurt. You're right, Nick. He could have had that elbow inflammation for a majority of this year so far. But I think it's different for every guy, and they're all adjusting. I think it's really weird for everyone, including us watching on TV, but we got to think about what it's like for them too, that it's weird to play baseball this way. And I think we can't discount how awkward maybe it is and how difficult it is to have this new routine and to not have fans and to have a short season. How do you gauge the importance of games? I know everyone says 2.7 times more, but it doesn't feel like that all the time. It doesn't feel like every game matters 2.7 times more. Sometimes, like tonight or any other night, sometimes it feels like, yeah, this is just a Tuesday night game against the Royals, It just has that feeling sometimes. I know it's Friday night, but that doesn't make it any more important. It just feels like that. And I know for some guys, it's probably really difficult to come back after everything that's happened. And I'm not saying I don't know. I talked to Zach Littell on FaceTime last night. I'm just saying I think we have to maybe factor in more things into why guys struggle and why they're struggling this year, because I think there's a lot that we don't see, a lot that we don't know about, just because of everything that's going on in the world too around them. And I'm not giving anyone a pass for anything. I'm just saying I think there are a lot of factors that go into struggles and into, thriving this year. I think some guys are really taking the opportunity, like Alcala, who might not have last year. Or who might not have in 162 games. It's exciting for some guys, and for others, it's probably really difficult.
Very good point. We need to take into account the strangeness of the season in all regards, and it's going to affect different people differently. So, obviously arms are taking a beating around the league. Lots of injuries. Zach Littell, sort of the latest instance of a guy having arm issues and coming out of a game. It hasn't been uncommon. Jake Odorizzi, we hope he's going to be okay. We hope he's not going to have to go on the IL. But if he does, this rotation, Homer Bailey, I guess, is playing catch, but it sounds like he did not go on this road trip, so I don't think he's going to be back within the next week, 10 days. Rich Hill came back, did not look good, looked very flat in his return the other day. So there's definitely room for concern. It was really good to see Barrios take a step forward and really have a dominant outing yesterday. And the Twins tomorrow are going to get their ace of the moment on the hill with Randy Dobnak. How are we feeling about tomorrow's game, guys, with Randy Dobnak? Can the Twins get their first win at Kauffman Stadium? Nash, let's start with you. What's your feeling? It sounds like you're not too confident because of the way we've been playing the Royals here.
No, I know, and I love when Dauber's out there. I really do, because I think he gives you a chance 95% of the time to win. I think he's going to get outs tomorrow against a lineup that is underrated, in my opinion, but a lineup that's beatable. I think he's going to get outs, and I think he's going to give him a chance to win. The reason that I have apprehension is because the offense is not there. You know, if you have Dobnak with the Bomba squad and he's going to go out and, give up 2 runs in 6 innings, you feel confident you're going to win that day. But with the way that this offense has been and how good Kansas City's bullpen is too, I can't say I'm super confident that they're going to go out and put up a bunch of runs tomorrow. I don't know if that's what's going to happen here. They've been so inconsistent. Last night they were great. I think they hit 372 last night, OPS over 1,000 in the game, and then tonight just nothing. There was no juice tonight, really nothing. 2 outs, runners in scoring position, nothing. Strikeouts. It just, there wasn't any juice there tonight. And so I can't say that I feel confident we're going to go out and score runs. I do feel confident that Dobnak's going to go out there, go 5 or 6, and give you a chance to win, because that's what he does. I mean, he just continues to do that. And that's all you ask from him, and that's what he's done for you. You have to reward him with runs. I will say what we've noticed about the Twins, especially under Baldelli, is that they bounce back really, really well, especially after disappointing losses and stretches. They lost 4 in a row, and then they went and won 5 out of 6. It's kind of what they do. So I will always lean back on that they'll bounce back, and they'll probably find a way to win this series because they know how to win, and they're a good baseball team with good depth. I just don't feel 100% confident in this offense right now because it's hot and cold every other day, and it's concerning, and it's also kind of frustrating. Rena, what do you think?
Okay. Both of you, I think, froze for 1 second. But anyway, to go off of that, I feel actually pretty confident in having Dobnak on the mound because although, again, you can't really quantify this statistically, I think that the fact that Alcala works so quickly through his pitches, through batters, really almost stunned the Royals in a way where, they were swinging on pitches that they normally wouldn't have had it been another pitcher who worked a little bit slower. And I think Dobnak's speed and efficiency will be really, really beneficial tomorrow. And on top of that, I'm actually very excited for Jorge Polanco to come back in the lineup tomorrow night because, having him gone today actually felt like a much bigger hole than I think we all realized. And so that combination of, his offensive bat, ahead of Cruz and even his defense back, at shortstop, it'll be much better tomorrow in that sense.
I think we continue to underrate him. I don't think he's been good this year. Not a lot of power at all. He's getting a lot of hits, but really no pop. He's among, and I wrote that in the article, he's one of the best left-handed hitters in baseball against right-handed pitching. He's top 10 since last year. Not as good against lefties again, and that's factors into why the Twins are struggling against lefties this year. But I just think you're right. I think he definitely is a huge piece of this lineup, and when he goes missing, you really notice it maybe more than other guys. It hurts when he's out of the lineup and not in the 2-hole. But usually I would like him in the 3-hole with Josh batting second.
Yeah, they're going to need to get those bats going again. Devlin mentioned in the chat here in the QA, I thought one of the biggest issues we've had versus KC on the road is the approach. Seems their approach at home is much better, more patience, more taking pitches. And that's something that Jorge Polanco is going to help with. The guy takes great at bats, very hard to strike out, and his absence was very noticeable. So they'll have Brady Singer, I believe, is on the mound for the Royals tomorrow. The Twins get back to a righty. So that helps, I guess. But I think he had a pretty good game against them last time, so they're going to have to prove something. Righty asks, how worried should we be about Donaldson following a Tulowitzki path, all-star plus caliber, but perennially injured, long-term contract? Has it been unsettling? This night's already been depressing enough, so I don't even want to delve
Nick,
about that.
Nick, hold on.
Oh, boy.
I don't want to ever hear that
What do we got
again.
here?
Okay. I don't want to ever hear it again.
Oh, you got the baby blue? The baby blue.
I got the new baby blue. But what I'll say about him, I think we forget last year too that Mitch Garver missed a month with that ankle. Remember when his ankle twisted on that play at home? I think that was in May or late April. He ended up missing a month. It feels like Donaldson has missed so much more time because of the shortened season. And he has. He's going to miss half the year at least. But in a normal season, he misses a month. Yeah, that's a big chunk. Max Kepler missed a month last year. Mitch Garver missed a month last year. You know, guys will miss a month. And it's probably going to end up being a month for him. I'm definitely erring on the side of optimism that he's back during that homestand in 8 days or 9 days, whatever it might be. But guys will miss time. Like, it happens. It's a calf strain. I know they're being really careful with it, which I'm glad they're being careful with it. But if this were to happen in regular season, he's still going to play 130. You know, he's still going to play 125, 130 like Kepler did last year. And no, it's not time. And I know we're thinking about the contract. I think it's really important to remember they're only paying him $8 million this year prorated. So that's important to remember. It's not like he's making 23, 24 like he would be. It's important to remember and have perspective in this. He's got a calf strain. It sucks that he's out, and we miss him because he's arguably the best player on the team. But when he comes back, it's going to be refreshing for them, and he's going to be just fine. I think he's going to be fine next year. I think he's going to be an asset in the clubhouse, already has been. I don't worry about him, and I understand why Twins fans do. I really do. I get it, but I think I have so much belief in what he's going to bring to them that I don't worry about a calf strain missing a month as much as other Twins fans might. I get it because it's such a big contract, and you just want to jump to, oh my God, he's 34. And is he injury prone? No, I mean, he's going to be fine. I can say with confidence that he's going to be fine.
Ooh, man, I
have
admire
a different take on that.
I admire your optimism there. Yeah, I mean, when you think about the fact that he missed the vast majority of 162 game season with calf injuries, with calf issues there in 2018, not too long ago. Yeah, Rena, what's your thought? Sounds like maybe not quite as optimistic.
No, so I've got two major thoughts. One, I think Nash wore that baby blue uniform before Josh Donaldson ever did. And so, yeah, so that, and number two, I was actually a Blue Jays fan. We've talked about this before I was a Twins fan, and I've been kind of following them, including Tulowitzki and Donaldson for a couple years. And, we watched the Tulowitzki trajectory, and we watched him absolutely rake for 4 games against the Yankees before he permanently retired with a small injury. So, I'm still going to be optimistic, but, Tulowitzki's face just keeps getting closer and closer as time goes on.
Nick, I'm really, I understand. And Seth called me Dr. Nash. Thanks, Seth. I understand it. I really do. But what I don't understand is that it's been 19 days and people are jumping ship. Like, I just don't get it. That's really, it's kind of sad. It really is. Like, we were so excited about this guy, and we're so quick to say that. And it's Minnesota sports. I get it. Like, we all have that feeling. But to jump ship after missing 19 days or 3 weeks now is like, it's disappointing to see from Twins fans. It is for me. I understand the calf. I get it all. It's just, I wish we would be have more belief in him and in the team, because they signed him and they believed in him. So I'm going to as well, and I'm going to continue to be optimistic about it. It's a little quick to jump off the bandwagon, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, that's good perspective. It's, I think, just the fact that we knew going in that the Cavs were going to kind of be like the one, outside of just general aging, we're going to be sort of that one thing to be concerned about, and to have it really, he didn't play very well for a week, and then he went on the IL, and now there's really no concrete timeline for his return. I definitely believe in Josh Donaldson, the person, but Troy Tulowitzki is a great example of sometimes these things are out of your control, right? Especially as you start getting into your mid-30s. So I would describe my condition as nauseatingly concerned. But let's we've had a great chat here tonight. Let's wrap it up. I want to circle back to the obscure words here. The fast food chains. I know that Irina, I heard you drop an In-N-Out. That was very slick.
Oh my God!
I dropped a Boston Market when discussing.
Shoot, Nick, that was good though.
Did you not get one in, Nash?
I was gonna.
Did you get one in, Nash?
You know what I was going to say is, and it's an unpopular Minnesota opinion too. I was going to say, Culver's is really expensive and much like Josh Donaldson, expensive, and people are starting to think, it's underrated. He's underrated like Culver's too, or overrated. But I flopped. I was amped, and I just flopped. So I got to say, I'm going to take the L. I shouldn't get a single shot.
Well, we're running the poll right now, and you did get a vote. So you were able to bring it in late.
I appreciate that.
You like Josh Donaldson. You were quiet in the early part. Hopefully Josh Donaldson, a quiet start, and then you came in strong there at the end. But Rena blows us away here in the votes, 6 votes compared to our measly 1 apiece. So congratulations, Rena, on being the Postgame Pint Poobah, as Mr. Bonus likes to call it. Thank you guys both for joining me tonight here on this Friday night. Tough game for the Twins tonight. They lose 7-2. Fall to 17-10 on the season. Thankfully, they are still in first place by a half a game because the Cleveland Indians finally, after beating Detroit for 20 straight games, lost to the Detroit Tigers. Jonathan Scope went 4 for 5 with a homer in the cleanup spot for the Tigers tonight. So Gardy's Tigers finally get it done. So Twins will go out there and try to do it again tomorrow. Dobnak versus Singer. Any final thoughts before we sign off, Rena?
That Cleveland loss really feels like the Twins win with Jonathan Scope really picking up all of the slack on that team and finally beating them. No, but kind of final thought is I think that we collectively just need to put this loss behind us, and we've got 2 more games against the Royals, thankfully, for the rest of the season before that's Cleveland's, issue to deal with for the rest of the year. And so I'm really excited, looking forward to tomorrow's matchup. Looking forward to the return of Polanco, and it'll be a good one. And as Bob's big boy used to say, he didn't say anything. I just wanted to throw that in there because that was in the chat.
Wow. Now you're just showing off. Jeez. Yes. The Twins bounced back great from a really rough game on Wednesday with a dominant win yesterday. Hopefully they can do the same. Nash, any final thoughts here before we sign off?
Yeah, I do. I got some final thoughts, Nick.
No surprise there.
Believe in the Rain Man. Believe. Yeah. Thanks, guys.
All right,
Rena, good job. Nick, good job.
That piece of optimism is what we'll carry forward here tonight. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Postgamepint.com, you can always go check out to find links to the next episode. There will be a video of this on there tomorrow. There's a podcast you can subscribe to. You can always listen to the previous day's postgame show while you're sipping your coffee, going for a jog in the morning, what have you. So recommend doing that. I'm not sure who's going to be hosting or on the show tomorrow night, but hopefully we'll be talking about a win. So Rena and Nash, thank you so much for joining us. Everyone, enjoy your Friday night and your weekend.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
See ya.